I'm going to show you exactly how to buy the best butter in Australia. That includes identifying fake products in under 5 seconds, understanding what every label claim genuinely means, and finding real, pure, high-quality butter that's actually worth your money. Plus, I'll give you the specific products at Coles, Woolworths, and IGA that deliver genuine value, all broken down in 3 straightforward steps. Step 1. Recognize the red flags. Let's start with what you need to leave on the shelf, the spreadable butter scam. If you've got Western Star spreadable, Lurpak spreadable, or Devondale spreadable in your fridge right now, I need you to go check the ingredients, because what you'll find isn't just butter. It's butter blended with canola oil, roughly 20 to 25% of the entire product. Think about that. You're paying $7.50 for 500 grams of what's essentially a homemade butter oil mix you could create for $5. That's not a premium product. That's your money walking out the door. The reason they do this is straightforward. Pure butter is solid when it comes out of your fridge. So manufacturers blend it with cheaper oils to make it spreadable. But they don't exactly advertise it on the front of the package, do they? Check the ingredient list right now. Canola oil appears second or third. You're paying full butter prices for this hybrid product. Products that aren't butter at all. Then you've got Meadowlea Original, which contains roughly 35% milk fat. Flora Plant Butter. Nuttalex. These aren't butter. They're legally classified as table spreads, dairy blends, or plant-based spreads under Food Standards Australia, New Zealand regulations. If you're buying these thinking you're getting butter, you're not. Food Standards Australia, New Zealand requires products labelled butter to contain minimum 80% milk fat from dairy. These products don't meet that standard. Here's the thing. The word buttery on packaging has zero legal definition. Manufacturers use it because lawyers confirmed it doesn't violate regulations, even when there's no actual butter inside. That's pure lawyer-approved wordplay. The price warning signal. Here's your first rule. If something labelled butter costs under $4.50 per 500 grams, check the ingredients immediately. Real butter in Australian supermarkets ranges from $5 to $11 per 500 grams in January 2026. Anything dramatically cheaper than that, something's been substituted. Budget tier runs $5 to $6.50. That's typically 80% milk fat, standard quality. Mid-tier goes $6.50 to $8.50. You're looking at 82 to 84% milk fat, often cultured. Premium tier starts at $8.50 and goes up to $14 or more. That's 84% plus milk fat, artisan production, or imported European butter. Here's what people miss. Cheaper isn't always savings. A $4 butter that's 40% oil means you're getting 300 grams of actual butter. That makes it more expensive per gram than genuine butter at $6. Do the math on what you're actually buying. Marketing terms that mean absolutely nothing. Food Standards Australia. New Zealand has identified terms with no legal definition for butter products. Farm fresh, meaningless. Country style, meaningless. FSANZ specifically flags this as having no real meaning. Traditional, no production method requirements. Pure and natural, no verification standards. Premium, finest, completely unregulated. Creamy just describes texture, not quality or ingredients. So when you see packaging with rolling green hills, happy cows, and words like farmhouse churned or old-fashioned goodness, understand that's pure marketing theatre. It communicates zero information about what's actually inside the package. The Australian-made kangaroo logo only means manufactured in Australia. The milk could be imported from New Zealand or Europe. The colour myth. You might have heard that deep yellow butter means quality, and there's some truth to that. The colour comes from beta-carotene in grass. Genuinely, grass-fed butter from pasture-raised cows does tend toward golden hues. But here's what they don't advertise. Food standards. Code 1.3.1 permits natural coloring like annatto or beta-carotene in butter. Some manufacturers add coloring to grain-fed butter to mimic grass-fed appearance. Color alone guarantees nothing. You need to verify grass-fed claims through certifications, not visual inspection. Mainland butter appears deep yellow due to added annatto extract. It's primarily grain-fed but colored to suggest premium grass-fed status. Don't let your eyes make the purchasing decision. Step 2. Decode the label. You know what to avoid. Now let's find what's genuinely worth buying. The fat content number is your primary quality indicator. By law, under Food Standards Code 2.5.3, anything called butter in Australia must contain minimum 80% milk fat. But that's just the minimum. Here's what the numbers actually tell you. 80% milk fat is the legal baseline for standard salted butter. 82% is the quality standard for unsalted butter. That's the international norm. 82 to 84% is European-style butter. Less water, better for your pastries, richer taste. 84 to 86%, that's premium artisan territory. Maximum flavor with minimal water content. Higher fat content means less water in your butter. Water content in 80% butter runs about 16%. Water in 84% butter is around 12%. That 4% difference matters. Less water delivers flakier pastries, creamier sauces, better browning, and more intense flavor. So if you're choosing between two butters and one says 82% while another says 80%, you now know which one's actually better quality. That 2% difference represents 10 grams more actual butter fat per 500 gram package. That's the difference between good croissants and exceptional croissants. Look at the label right now. Western Star Original lists 80%. Pepe Saya shows 84%. Lurpak Unsalted states 82%. Woolworth's Essentials shows 80%. The number tells you everything about quality before you even open the package. Certifications that actually matter. Let's cut through the noise. There are 4 certifications worth your attention in Australia. First, RSPCA approved. This guarantees animal welfare standards for dairy cows. It covers stocking density, access to outdoors, health monitoring. Approximately 15% of Australian dairy carries this certification. Look for the white chicken logo with blue checkmark. It's a solid animal welfare baseline. Second, Australian Certified Organic, known as ACO. This is certified under National Standard for Organic and Biodynamic Produce. It requires no synthetic pesticides, no GMO feed, stricter antibiotic protocols. The certification number format is 5 digits. This exceeds international organic standards. If you want organic, ACO is your verification. Third, grass-fed certification through PCO, organic, or NASAR. This verifies cows raised primarily on pasture with minimum 300 days per year grazing requirement. Grass-fed butter contains higher omega-3 fatty acids and better beta-carotene content. This is the certification that backs up grass-fed claims, not package color. Fourth, made in Australia with Australian ingredients. That's the green and gold kangaroo triangle logo. This guarantees local sourcing, not just local packaging. It's distinct from made in Australia, which permits imported ingredients. If you want genuinely Australian butter, this logo is your verification. Here's the thing about PDO, Protected Designation of Origin. Australia has no PDO butter. Every PDO butter is imported, primarily French. Échiré from Poitou-Charentes, Isigny from Normandy, Beurre de Bresse. If you see PDO on butter, you're looking at strictly controlled European production methods in a specific region. It's the real deal, but it's not Australian. Origin labels and what they actually mean. Australian butter implies Australian milk source, but has no strict legal definition without certification. Made in Britain only tells you where it was processed. The milk could be imported from New Zealand. That's common practice. Packed in Australia is the weakest claim of all. The butter could be entirely manufactured overseas and just packaged locally. This is often used for imported European butters. Major Australian brands source approximately 12% of milk from New Zealand during seasonal shortages. Australian butter doesn't guarantee 100% Australian dairy without explicit certification. Look for the full kangaroo triangle logo with text. That's your guarantee of Australian ingredient sourcing. Green flags worth seeking. Real butter should have a short ingredient list. Cream and maybe salt. That's it. 2 ingredients maximum. If you're seeing a paragraph of ingredients, you're not looking at pure butter. Emulsifiers, preservatives, and natural flavors indicate processed blends. Look for cultured or fermented on the label. Cultured butter is made by fermenting cream with live bacteria before churning. It develops a tangy complex flavor and typically runs 82 to 84% fat content. The fermentation process creates depth you don't get in standard butter. If you see a named farm or producer rather than a faceless corporation, that's generally a quality signal. Small producers like Pepe, Saya, Schultz Organic, or Mandadgery Creek stake their reputation on every pack. They can't hide behind mass market anonymity. Quality matters to their survival. Visible butterfat crystals are another green flag. Those small white specks indicate minimal processing. The butter hasn't been over-homogenized or heat-treated to the point where natural crystal structure disappears. You want to see those tiny white dots? Step 3. Usage guide and shopping list. Let's put this knowledge into practice, starting with storage that preserves quality. Your butter belongs in the fridge at 2 to 4 degrees Celsius. Store it on a middle shelf toward the back. Never in the door where temperatures swing every time you open it. Temperature fluctuates 3 to 5 degrees Celsius with every door opening. That degrades quality fast. Salted butter keeps 2 to 4 months refrigerated. Unsalted keeps 1 to 2 months refrigerated. Keep butter in original foil wrapper, then inside an airtight container. Why? Because butter absorbs odors like activated charcoal. Store it near onions or fish, and you'll taste it within 24 hours. I've seen people throw out perfectly good butter because they stored it next to garlic and couldn't figure out why it tasted off. Want spreadable butter without vegetable oil blends? Get yourself a butter bell, also called a butter crock. The water seal keeps butter fresh at room temperature for up to 3 days. Change the water every 48 hours. You can find these at kitchenware stores for $25 to $40. That's a one-time purchase that eliminates the need for spreadable butter products forever. And yes, you can freeze butter. Salted butter freezes 9 to 12 months. Unsalted freezes 6 to 9 months. Wrap it in aluminum foil over the original packaging. That prevents freezer burn. Thaw overnight in the refrigerator, never at room temperature. Never refreeze once thawed. That degrades texture and you'll end up with grainy, separated butter. The cooking temperature truth. Regular butter burns at 150 to 177 degrees Celsius because milk solids, proteins, and sugars carbonize at relatively low heat. That's why your butter turns brown and bitter when you're trying to fry at high temperature. You're literally burning the milk proteins. For high heat cooking, like pan frying or searing, use clarified butter or ghee instead. They can handle up to 250 degrees Celsius because the milk solids have been removed. It's pure butter fat. You can make this at home. Simmer butter, skim the foam, strain the solids. Takes 15 minutes. For medium heat cooking, like sauteing or scrambling eggs, regular butter works fine at 120 to 150 degrees Celsius. Just monitor for browning. If you see it turning golden, you're approaching the smoke point. Pull back the heat. For maximum flavor, add whole butter at the end of cooking, not beginning. This technique is called mounting, or in French, monter au beurre. You preserve the fresh butter flavor and prevent burning. Professional chefs finish sauces this way for a reason. Now, there's deliberately browned butter, called beurre noisette. You cook it to 150 to 160 degrees Celsius to create nutty, complex flavor. But this requires constant monitoring and stirring. It's controlled burning, not accidental burning. There's a 30-second window between perfect and ruined. Your Australian shopping list with January 2026 verified prices. I checked these across Coles, Woolworths, and IGA in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane metro areas. Regional pricing may vary plus or minus 10%, but this gives you the baseline. Budget options under $6.50 per 500 grams. Woolworths. Essentials, salted butter, 500 grams runs $5.50. That's 80% milk fat from Australian milk. Value works out to $1.10 per 100 grams. Best for everyday cooking and spreading. This is your solid baseline option. Coles salted butter, 500 grams is $5.80. 80% milk fat made in Australia. Value is $1.16 per 100 grams. Best for baking and general use. Comparable to Woolworths, but 6% more expensive. Devondale salted butter, 500 grams, costs $6.20. 80% milk fat from 100% Australian dairy farmers. It's a farmer-owned cooperative. Value is $1.24 per 100 grams. Best for supporting Australian dairy farmers directly. You pay a bit more, but it goes back to the producers. Mid-range with genuine value, $6.50 to $8.50. Western Star Chef's Choice. Unsalted 500 grams runs $7.50. This is 82% milk, fat, and it's cultured. That means fermented cream. Value is $1.50 per 100 grams. Best for pastries, baking, and sauces where that extra fat content makes a difference. Mainland butter salted, 500 grams, costs $6.80. 80% milk fat, New Zealand sourced. Value is $1.36 per 100 grams. Best for budget-conscious cooking when you want a recognized brand. The New Zealand dairy is high quality even though it's not Australian. Lurpak unsalted, 500 grams is $8.20. 82% milk fat, Danish imported. Value is $1.64 per 100 grams. Best for baking where precise fat content matters. European butter tradition with consistent quality. Premium options, $8.50 to $14 and up. Pepe Saya cultured. Butter, 200 grams, runs $9.50. This is 84% milk. Fat, Australian artisan. Cultured from grass-fed New South Wales dairy. Value is $4.75 per 100 grams. Best for special occasions, finishing dishes, and cheese boards. This is genuinely exceptional butter. Dietary AOP butter. Unsalted, 250 grams, costs $14.50. 84% milk fat, French PDO, protected designation of origin. Traditionally churned in wooden barrels in Poitou-Charentes. Value is $5.80 per 100 grams. Best for croissants, premium pastries, and discerning palates. If you've never tried PDO butter, this is the benchmark. Schultz Organic Dairy Butter, 250 grams, is $8.80. 82% milk fat. Australian certified organic from grass-fed Gippsland cows. Value is $3.52 per 100 grams. Best for organic preference and grass-fed benefits without going full artisan pricing. President. French butter, salted, 250 grams, runs $7.20. 82% milk fat, French imported. Value is $2.88 per 100 grams. best for French-style cooking and cultured flavor at mid-range price. This is excellent value for imported European butter. Products to completely avoid. Any spreadable butter. You're paying for canola oil blended in. Just buy regular butter and use a butter bell if you want it spreadable. Products with TBHQ preservative. That's a synthetic antioxidant that's completely unnecessary in genuine butter. Quality butter doesn't need chemical preservation. Anything listing natural flavors on the ingredient list. That indicates flavor correction for an inferior-based product. Real butter tastes like butter without added flavoring, and any butter priced dramatically under $5 per 500 grams. That indicates substitution or inferior sourcing. The margins don't work below that price for genuine quality butter. That's your complete guide to buying butter in Australia. Which one of these surprised you most? Drop your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching. If this helped you make better buying decisions, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next guide. See you in the next one.